Animals aren't always vicious and evil, and some of these apex predators have a soft spot for humans. The thought of cuddling and a warm hug with a bear seems far-fetched away from this world, and without evidence, very few will believe it's actually authentic, but today, we take a look at animals reunited with their owners. The moments are just too epic. Stick around as we relive some of these affectionate moments with owners and their pets. Number 9. Bear and his mate. I know almost everyone has experienced a scenario where we reunite with a long-lost pal after ages of not being seen eye to eye. In such a moment, feelings go wild, and affection is pretty evident, whether it's private or public. This guy, who had been separated from his long-lost bear friend, couldn't maintain his cool any longer. They rushed to their mate as fast as his feet could carry him and sank deep into his furry hands. It didn't end at that. He was comfortable enough to cuddle close with what many consider a vicious species. The love was mutual for sure, because even the bear enjoyed the company of his long-lost friend, and the only way he could show it was by licking his palm and pulling his pal closer to him. By the looks of it, true friendship does exist, and it knows boundaries. Number 8. Chimp reunites with both his parents. It's said that chimpanzees have an IQ as big as snails, oysters, and humans. Wait, did Google just compare our IQs to a snail and a chimpanzee? That's a low point for the human race. Enough rambling, back to our topic. This means that chimpanzees could remember conversations, events, and emotions vividly just like any of us. It's no wonder this chimpanzee got so excited when he saw his previous adopted mother, who surprised him at his new home. Like a little kid, the chimpanzee ran to the lady and jumped into her arms for a hug. Then, when the adopted father walked out of the car, the chimpanzee rushed to hug him too. I'm not sure what he mumbled to them, but that looks a lot like, "I missed you so much, Mom and Dad." Number 7. Lion reunites with his savior. On one of her usual tours, a woman stumbled upon true love in a strange place. She met a depressed and emaciated lion who had been brutally abused and forced to work as entertainment for a circus. Determined to find a way to save the lion, the woman found a way to set it free from captivity and took it under her wing. She fed it, bathed it, and nurtured it for months before it could walk and build its body weight. It was an intense circumstance that required one-on-one interactions, but slowly by slowly, the lion and the lady formed a beautiful bond. One that was so strong that once the lion was put in care of a reserve, he couldn't help but become a little depressed and lost a couple of pounds. It refused to eat for days. When the attendant noticed the behavior, they reached out to the lady who saved the lion's life. When the lion saw his longtime friend, he couldn't help but turn into a softball, wanting nothing else but to be smothered with love and hugs. Number 6. Carjacked dog reunited with owner. What are some of the worst things about carjackings? They might end up driving away with something more precious that money can't buy back, like a baby or a puppy. And on a busy week of running errands, this guy found out that he would have given his life in exchange for his best friend. He was in the backseat of his car when a couple of goons found a way into their car and drove off with it. In desperation, he went to report the incident to the police and started the usual process of trying to find his dog that got nabbed in the carjacking. Days turned to weeks, and weeks turned to months, but there was no news about the car nor his dog. One day, however, he got a call to visit a nearby animal shelter, where he was met by the surprise of his life. He was in tears as he held his little dog in his arms again, and I could bet $100 that getting his car back wouldn't cause as much as an emotional stir as finding his dog did. Number 5. A doggy surprise after a hard day of school. The best thing about school was when my parents would bring me snacks as they picked me up from school. However, watching this video now makes me realize that I'm yet to have such a burst of emotions greater than a packet of cookies would give. This mom went above and beyond to reunite these two best friends after her son's dog went missing for a couple of months. They tried everything within their area to find their cuddly dog. Missing animal posters, visiting shelters, but nothing bore any fruit. Until one day, she got an anonymous call to inform her that someone had found the dog. Kudos to her, as she found the perfect way to reintroduce the two, and tied a cute little ribbon on the pup and waited for the unsuspecting best friend to realize what was happening. For a moment, time seemed to freeze as the two best friends wondered what was going on. In the end, it was all tears and tail wags as the two best friends hugged each other desperately. Number 4. Geese. A family of geese went wild with emotions when they heard the car of their favorite person pull up on the side of the street. Even before the owner could alight to say hey to the lovely geese, they were already screaming in joy and were eager to meet their owner after a long day away from home. Aw, this makes me want some geese. I didn't know they were such affectionate creatures. How they spread out their wings as if they were trying to hug their owner is just adorable. Number 3. Pup in court. This pup found himself in the court of justice one day, unexpectedly, but it wasn't because he was charged for any crimes. It was just a sad victim of a separation gone bad when his parents got a divorce. The lady was determined to do her ex dirty by taking away the one thing he loved most in his life, his pup. After a long session of Who's the Dog Owner, the judge came up with a smart idea, which she pulled out of King Solomon's Book of Wisdom. She didn't ask for the dog to be cut in half or whatever crazy thing. She simply asked the person holding the dog to put it down and watched who the dog ran to. Without a doubt, the dog ran to its adopted father and tried to get up in his arms. That must have been a heartbreaking moment for the lady. Maybe next time she won't do anyone dirty like that. Number 2. Wolves reunite with their long-lost human friend. On the topic of a really strange relationship between humans and animals comes a young lady who formed a special relationship with a wolf pack. These weren't just any kind of domesticated wolves, they were a wild pack of wolves that roamed the forest until they were adopted into the polar zoo. Their relationship was formed after the lady spent endless days and nights out in the cold taking care of them, feeding them, and playing with them. They initiated her as one of the members of the pack. That meant that no amount of distance or time would ever break them apart. Even when the lady moved back to her home, the 2 long months couldn't erase this strange bond. Watch these vicious predators turn into pups that play and climb on their owner's back without hesitation after this long-awaited reunion. Number 1. Elephant. In almost every cartoon or movie ever aired, elephants are delicate creatures who will return kindness with kindness. And the emotions and tenderness of an elephant are as real in the real world as they are in fictional characters. That's why they form such innate bonds with their caregivers. A good example of this is this herd of elephants who were keen to hear their longtime caregiver call onto them from the other side of the park. Not only did they hear him, but they also responded to him by blowing their trumpets as if acknowledging the call. Soon, they changed in their direction and headed straight to him, giving them the equivalent of elephant hugs with their trunks, welcoming him back home after a long time away from them. It was such a beautiful sight to behold. See you next time.